My name is Nicole Maloof. I'm from East Greenwich, Rhode Island originally. I went to Boston College for undergrad, where I studied studio art and psychology, and I graduated from there in 2019. And after that, I actually moved down to Washington, D.C., where I've been for the past 3 years. And then in August, I actually returned to Rhode Island. So I'm back in Rhode Island for the time being. And I'm happy to be here. I'm an art teacher at a Montessori school in Providence. And I'm working in my studio every day. So it's been really great. I make sculptures now. I have been doing so for the past 5 years or so. I was traditionally trained as a painter and I was making a lot of abstract paintings. But I would say I pretty quickly realized I was way more interested in forms and something in the round, something that was really textured, and something that could kind of hold what I was trying to talk about. I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes when I was 4 years old. So a lot of my work is intertwined with that part of my life. And I'm very aware of my body and the way that it works. So my work is quite bodily. And I find that sculptures can really kind of encapsulate that bodily notion. And I use a variety of materials, some of which are kind of traditional art materials like plaster and paint, while others are a little bit more bizarre, like homemade candy and jello. And they often take the shape of my used diabetes supplies. So it's been an interesting endeavor. So typically I have an idea or a seed of an idea in my head, whether that be to try a new material or create a new form or try a new process entirely. I then kind of turn to a sketchbook, although the sketches that I make in my sketchbook very rarely turn out like my final sculptures, which is interesting also and quite funny sometimes. And a lot of my process for a new project really takes place in the studio by experimenting. I think that that's where my best ideas come from is through making mistakes in the studio or making a decision that leads to something new and something that I wasn't expecting. In general, I have never viewed my diabetes as a big deal. My parents, my family, everybody, my friends have always been very supportive and just accepted that it's part of who I am. And I think that because I was diagnosed when I was so little, I have really never known anything different. That being said, a lot of people with type 1 do not have the same experience that I do and find it much more difficult. And I think that goes to say it's similar with any experience that somebody might have, another disease or a situation that somebody has in life. So I think it's important to realize that not everybody has had the same experiences, even though you might be in a similar boat. So in general, my body appears normal when you look at it on the outside. But it's also broken at the same time in some ways because my pancreas doesn't work properly. So ultimately, I want to challenge the viewer's expectations of these sculptures that might appear both beautiful and disgusting at the same time. And I really kind of want people to become aware of their bodies in a similar way that I am. So I'm hoping that they can find something unexpected through the bizarre and seductive sculptures that I create.